Welcome to the Epcotian Adventure,
a podcast where we'll talk about all things Disney,
including tips and tricks, festivals and favorites, and the very latest in news and reviews.
But we're still old enough to remember when Disney Village was the only non-park thing, and we were sad.
Aw, this is episode 30, How to Visit the Walt Disney World Resort with No Theme Park Tickets.
Or, what do archery, hot air balloons, and floating cars have in common? Let's find out.
So now, please remain seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the podcast as we embark on our Epcotian adventure. Howdy, folks, and welcome to episode 30 of the Epcotian Adventure. I'm Rod.
And I'm Sue.
And today we're talking about how to go to the Walt Disney World Resort without a theme park ticket.
Can it be done?
It actually can be done. I remember when we were there the first time back in the 80s, we actually had a couple of days where we did things outside of the Disney bubble, but we did things also at Disney that were not inside of a theme park. And as we alluded to in the intro, the only thing there was the Disney Village, and yes, we were sad.
We were really sad. There was like a play set with a slide.
Ooh, a plastic slide.
Yeah.
In that Florida heat? That was painful.
Bad idea. And there was a store.
A couple stores, yeah.
There were probably more than one. I was like 11, so I don't really remember, but I just remember being very sad.
Yeah.
And Mom going, but it's Disney.
Yeah. It's like, let's go spend the whole day inside of a Disney store and pretend it's Disneyland. It's not.
It's not. Sorry, kids. If your parents have told you that that's Disneyland, it gets better.
There's actually parks.
So just to clarify what we're going to be talking about, this is not free things to do. Some of them are, but not all of them. These are just things that you would do if you don't want to spend a day at the parks. So if your flight gets in like in the afternoon and you still have a whole afternoon and evening, so you don't want to buy a park ticket, but you don't want to sit at your hotel either, what are you going to do? So this is sort of like time fillers, or if you need a break during your park vacation, you've already spent 2 days at a park, your feet are dead, and you want to do something else. This is some of those ideas. What can you do without buying an actual theme park admission ticket?
And now Orlando is a tourist town. There's lots of things to do outside of the Disney bubble. Like when we were there, we went to Wet 'n Wild, which is now gone, but doing a water park or doing another theme park. There's SeaWorld, Universal, Busch Gardens, or Legoland, or some of the local parks like Gatorland. Yeah, but
there's also like outlet shopping and stuff like that you can do that is very tourist oriented, but won't put you in a theme park. But we're just going to talk about the Disney bubble.
Yeah, so we're going to stay inside the Disney bubble. So what are we going to do when we don't want to either buy a Disney ticket for the day, or, like Sue said, get in late and don't want to buy a Disney ticket for the day? We don't want to have to buy a Disney ticket for the day. What do we do?
Or maybe your flight doesn't leave until the evening.
Ooh, also a good point.
Again, like on the tail end of your trip, you don't want to buy a whole ticket to go in for part of a day. So these are some ideas for you.
So, of course, one of the biggest things that everybody knows about is Disney Springs.
Yes.
This is the old Disney Village, or what used to be referred to as Downtown Disney for a while. Disney Springs encompasses things from shopping to attractions to Cirque du Soleil, AMC movie theaters. These are just some of the things that we've talked about doing or have done in the past when we don't want to blow a ticket day.
Yeah, Disney Springs is one of my favorite locations. I absolutely love it. I love the whole vibe. I love everything about it. The whole idea of mixing shopping with fun things to do, with great restaurants. It's so much fun. We have never actually spent an entire day at Disney Springs. That's sort of a bucket list item for me, as weird as that is. But because, as you know, if you've listened to us for a while, we love to do weekend trips. So that leaves very little park time built in and not a lot of downtime. So we've just never done a whole day at Disney Springs. So this is actually really fun for us to research and see what's there, because we'll like go over and have dinner and then that's it. So Disney Springs is a jewel, let me just tell you.
And for us, in the old days, when we were cast members, we would go to the parks often with other cast members. One of our traditions was as soon as we would fly in, we would find out what Disney film has just been released, and we would go to the AMC theater. Now, since that time, they've added in what's called the AMC Dine-In Theater. They took part of the theaters and actually put in a full-service restaurant kitchen, and you can now sit in a nice theater chair with a table and eat a regular meal while you watch your film. So that was one of the things we used to love to do, was to go see the newest Disney animated film that was just released, or new Disney Touchstone action film, or whatever.
And I will just throw in here, the AMC Dine-In, where you're eating the meal, I had the best burger of my whole life at this theater. And I don't know if I was just extra hungry. I don't know what the deal was, but it was phenomenal. So don't discount the food just because it's at a movie theater.
Yeah. Also, Disney Springs is the world's largest Disney store. So if you've got any shopping that you missed, or you just want to wait until the end of your trip to do your shopping, World of Disney is the world's largest Disney store. Now, you may not get some of the park-specific merchandise that's in the parks, and attraction-specific, but any other Disney merch that you would love or that you found within the parks or on your trip, you're probably going to find it at World of Disney.
That's a really important point, too. A lot of the hotels now have hotel-specific merchandise. A lot of the more popular attractions have attraction-specific merchandise. If you see those things at that location, buy them then. But if it's just a general Mickey ears, or it's just general Mickey mugs or dishes or whatever, you will be able to find that at WAD, and you can do that on that last day if that's when you do that.
And here's a good tip. Have it shipped home. Don't try to jam it into your suitcase at the end. Just have them ship it home. Get all of your purchases together at World of Disney, rather than buying things like at Emporium or at
Creation Shop.
Or the main stores that you see in the parks. You can usually get that type of merch within WAD. Take it up all at once and have them ship it in a big box home, and sometimes it'll even beat you there.
And it's like Christmas. It's so much fun to go and open that box once you get home. Little last touch of Disney.
Speaking of Christmas, at Christmas time they do a Christmas tree trail, which is really fun. It's a free thing that you can do. You can get a little card and actually go from place to place looking for the different Christmas trees that are around Disney Springs.
And they're all themed to the hills. They are just so immersive. So there's a Haunted Mansion tree, and you cannot mistake it as anything else. It is Haunted Mansion. There's a Pixar tree, and you cannot mistake it as anything else. It's so much fun. The things that they think to do to decorate these trees, they are just so elaborate. It's just a really fun thing. They used to just have a couple of them, and they were all sort of clumped together. Now they've made it the tree trail, and it's all the way through, and it's so much fun to just go find them.
The shopping at Disney Springs also includes things that you may not be able to see in a lot of places. They have one of the largest Lego stores on the planet. They have the World of Coke, which is a 2-story or 3-story history of Coke, and where you can try different Coke products.
There's also a place on the roof of that building where you can get a glass of Coke, but the most exciting part is they also have the flavors from Epcot that you can get as a full-size cup.
You mean I can get a full glass of Beverly?
You can, but you don't want to.
Ew. May I be the first to say ew?
But you can get a full-size cup of the cucumber Sprite, which I am so looking forward to, and that is going to happen when we go on our next trip, because I have always said I want a full cup of that, and I'm getting it. Even though I don't even drink soda, I want it so bad.
They have a few attractions as well. They have a small carousel that's about $5 to go on, and a little train that you can take your kids on, but they have some larger adult-size attractions. One of those is the Aerophile, which is a hot air balloon. It actually is tethered, so it just takes you from the water's edge up. I don't know how high. It's way up there, though. It's several hundred
feet. You can see
it
from forever, because there's no mountains in Florida. So you can see it way down the ways. That's what people always think about as like the icon of Disney Springs, because you can see it for so far.
Which is funny. It's the same thing at Disney Village in Paris. They have the same balloon there, too.
Yeah. And that one is $25 for adults, $20 for kids. And like Rod said, it is tethered. You're not going to go floating away. You're not going to end up in Oz. We promise. It's fine. There's also the Amphicar.
Yeah, the little cars that float.
I always try to call it Amphibicar for some reason, because it's amphibious, but it's not. It's Amphicar.
You'd be fibbing if you did that.
Yeah. That one is a little pricey. It is a 20-minute experience.
You actually don't get to drive the cars. You actually just ride in the cars with a driver.
We should specify that.
Definitely,
for sure.
Yeah.
But you can have 3 or 4 people, depending on how many you're going to fit in your car, how many in your party, and it's $125 $125 for the car for that 20 minutes. And that takes off over by, is it?
The boathouse.
The boathouse, yeah, that makes sense.
It takes off from the boathouse, yeah.
And yeah, you just go around on the lake. They're really fun. Even if you're not doing them, get a table over at the boathouse and watch them go, because that's really fun.
And of course, food is a big thing at Disney Springs. There's a lot of high-end locations like STK, Orlando, Morimoto's restaurant, which
that's one of our favorites.
Yeah, fantastic food. Some lower-end restaurants like Guy's Chicken is there, Guy Fieri. T-Rex and Dreamforce Cafe are there. You also have, however, some very nicely themed, ultra-themed bars, which are great for an
like
adult
Jock
beverage.
Lindsay's.
Jock Lindsay's Indiana Jones theme. You have the Edison, which is a steampunk theme. And you have Enzo's Hideaway. And there's actually a bar at Morimoto's that I always keep forgetting is there that I want to go try sometime. That's got its own little kind of secret door off to the side. You just have to look for it. People watching is another really big thing that's fun. You can sit at Ghirardelli with an ice cream soda and just watch the world go by.
It's so fun. It's one of those little luxuries that you don't often get, especially on a Disney vacation. But people watching is never to be underestimated. That's one of my favorite things. We always, when we go, we like to meet our friends John and Emily over at Disney Springs for dinner when we get there.
Hi, John. Hi, Emily.
Hi, guys. And when we arrive, if we arrive a little bit early, it's so much fun to just sit outside Morimoto or wherever we're going to have dinner and just watch the folks go by. It's an activity all in itself.
Entertainment-wise, you can go see live stage shows out in front of Ghirardelli. There's an actual big stage there that has sometimes local DJs, local bands, and
some invited groups.
Yeah, some invited
to perform
groups.
There. There's also entertainment over at Raglan Road, both inside and outside.
You find some of the best trad music you're going to hear outside of Ireland at Raglan Road on the outside patio. And inside, they have a stage just for the Irish dancers.
They're amazing.
Amazing.
And there's also House of Blues.
Yeah, big named artists will play at House of Blues all the time.
Again, that is not free. There's usually a cover charge for that.
And then there's also a brand new, unique Cirque du Soleil show called Drawn to Life, which has been created just for Disney, for the big Cirque du Soleil theater on the west side.
I'm a big Cirque du Soleil fan. I can't believe that I haven't seen this show yet. It looks so incredible. So again, bucket list item. Definitely going to happen someday, but it runs about $75 to $197, which is a big range, but it depends on when you're there and the time of the day and the time of the show and
how close to the stage you're at. Yeah.
Yes, and if your seats are semi-blocked or there's all kinds of conditions that go into those prices. But they do start at about $75 and go to $197.
One of the lesser known things that you can do is you can actually take a boat over to the Riverside Resort and see Yeehaw Bob. And yes, we've talked about Yeehaw Bob a lot. We're big fans.
We're fans.
And he plays at the River Roost over at Riverside. And at Port Orleans, French Quarter, you can get beignets at Scat Cats.
Mickey-shaped beignets.
And that boat is open to anybody. You don't have to be staying at one of the Port Orleans resorts in order to actually take that boat. And it's a nice break from the day. And it's just kind of fun.
It's one of my favorite things. It's one of my favorite things about staying at Riverside is that you get to take that boat to Disney Springs. So you might as well take it in reverse and enjoy Yeehaw Bob for a little bit. Get a drink.
So another thing you can do on your day is if you want to get up early and you like to walk around the 18 bases, you can golf.
4, 3.5. A hole in one? Why, you little cheater, you little four-flusher, why you can...
There's golf courses all over the Walt Disney World Resort. Matter of fact, they have the Walt Disney World Open every year where they actually do professional golfers and tournaments at the resort.
I didn't write down all the pricing. There's so many elements. It's going to vary by time of year. It's going to vary by location. It's in multiple locations. Your tee time will factor into that price. So if you are into golf, if that is your thing, you can spend an entire day doing that at Disney World.
Yeah, there's plenty of holes in order for you to drop little balls in. Now, if you like doing that but don't like getting up early and you're there with the family, there are 2 fantastic miniature golf courses. Actually, 3 technically, because if you look at the Fantasia Gardens course, there's actually 2 different sides to that. There's a more professional one and a more fanciful one. That's the Fantasia Gardens courses over by the Epcot resorts. Boardwalk, Swan and Dolphin, that area.
And they are themed to the Fantasia movie, so you actually do get to shoot some golf balls. What do you call that? I'm such a sports person.
Putt, I believe is the
You can putt.
You can putt.
But right by Sorcerer Mickey, or you have to hit it around and it makes the brooms spill their water. And
the dancing hippo.
The dancing hippo spins around. It's really, really fun. So
a little more themed outside of the typical golf course, too. They're really, really fun golf courses. That one is broken up into two different sides, like I mentioned. One that's a little more difficult and traditional in its green. The other one is the more fanciful and more kid-friendly one is probably the way to do it. More fun, yeah. Then if you just want to be away from it all, there is a golf course that sits out all by itself over by Blizzard Beach towards the Animal Kingdom resorts, and that one is called Winter Summerland.
So if you've ever wondered what Santa and the elves do during the summertime, this is where you'll find out. So this is, again, broken into two sections. One is winter, so you'll get the more ice-themed and winter-themed holes over there. And then summer, and you'll get to find out what they do on their summer break. It's really, really fun. And again, super easy, just really nice way to spend an afternoon or an evening. And that is $14 for adults and $12 for kids.
Over at the campground, Disney's Wilderness Campground, you can do a whole bunch of stuff, and you don't even have to be staying at the campground. You can actually, from your Disney hotel, take a bus to Disney Springs and catch a bus to the Wilderness Campground and do all kinds of outdoorsy kinds of things.
Now, we've covered a lot of this before when we were talking about our favorite hotels. We did mention some of these things, but just to run through them real quick. You can do archery, which is going to run you $45 per person, and they have a whole course set up. They have someone to teach you to do it. They have all the equipment. Super fun activity, especially if you have Merida fans.
And super kid-friendly.
Yes. But fun for grown-ups, too.
It is, yeah.
Also, horseback riding. And this is going to run $55 per person. And again, this is going to be good for kids and adults.
Yeah, unless that's got bubble wrap, helmets, and elbow pads, knee pads, and a seatbelt. I'm not doing that one. Last horseback riding experience I had, I ended up on the ground, and the horse was laughing at me. So if you're into horseback riding, though...
And that was just on the carousel.
That was the carousel at Magic Kingdom.
But man. That is a good time. I got to do that when I was a kid, and it's a memory that will last my whole life. It was so neat.
In the morning hours, they have a Segway tour that you can take on the big X3, I think they call them, the big knobby-tired X3 Segways.
Made for back roading.
Made for back roads, off-roading, and that runs about $90 per person. That's a couple-hour, kind of a tour, I guess you could say, of the backwoods.
Yeah, there is a leader. They don't just let you free with a Segway.
Yeah, that would be dangerous.
That would be really bad news.
A gator was found today with a Segway in its mouth. Nobody knows what happened to the guest.
That's not so good. That's not what you want. Also, out at the campground, you can find the Hoop-Dee-Doo Review. And this is a full-on dinner show. You're going to have all you care to enjoy for your meal. You're going to have a really fun, energetic show that's good for literally everyone. Super cheesy jokes and really fun music.
Yeah, if you remember the old shows that were either at the Diamond Horseshoe in Frontierland at Magic Kingdom or the Golden Horseshoe in Frontierland at Disneyland, very reminiscent of that. Music, bad jokes. You cannot beat this show, and the barbecue is fantastic.
And for adults, this is going to be $66 to $74. Kids are $39 to $44, and that's based on where you're seated, so however close you are to the stage. And It's not every night, so do check a schedule.
If you're looking for something a little less costly than that in the evening hours, they do have movies at all the resorts, but here at the campground, they also do movies with s'mores and Chip and Dale. And they do a sing-along before it all happens. It's really, really a fun way to end a day.
It's advertised for those who are staying there, but you do not have to be staying there in order to participate in this particular activity. You can also rent some canoes and go out on the water. I don't have pricing for that. I couldn't find any, but we have seen people do it, so we know it's a thing.
And you can also rent fishing equipment.
Yes.
And do a catch and release.
It is catch and release, so do keep that in mind. Don't take it back to your cabin and cook it.
Or back to your hotel. You take it into the Pop Century restaurant. They're not going to fry up the fish for you.
Yeah. And you can also just go visit the horses over at Tricircle D Ranch. They are very, very well cared for out there. You can go see how they're pampered during the day. All the horses from Main Street, from the vehicles, from the parades. You can see the big, giant, gorgeous black horse that the Headless Horseman rides in the Halloween parade.
Yeah, the Tricircle D Ranch. Oh my gosh.
It's
they just
very cool.
rebuilt it too. It's a gorgeous facility.
It really is beautiful. Those horses have it good.
There's also kind of a mini museum there at the Tricircle D Ranch that kind of gives you the history of the horses at the Walt Disney World Resort. It's pretty amazing how pampered they are and how loved they are.
It's very cool. Some of the other options that you can do without a Disney World admission ticket, you can head over to the Polynesian Resort.
Oh, heavens. If you're going to spend anywhere outside of your resort, the Poly is one of the best. Dole Whip. That alone. You can get Dole Whip at Captain Cook's.
And they often have flavors that you cannot find in the park. They rotate flavors like a seasonal flavor. So you can find special sundaes and special flavors and different things that you can't always find in the park for the Dole Whip. And you can get it with rum.
They also have Ohana, of course, which is one of the most sought-after reservations on property for an all-you-care-to-eat meat buffet. A lot of times referred to as a Brazilian barbecue. This is one of the best restaurants at the entire Walt Disney World Resort. Stitch and Lilo and a guy with a ukulele walk around.
I love that guy.
It's just so fun. They do breakfast and dinner there. Nights, though, at the Poly are amazing. Go out to the beach and you can sit there and watch the fireworks during non-peak times. If it's the summer or Christmas or a holiday time, you're probably going to have to show a proof that you're staying at the Poly. But during the rest of the year, you can sit on the beach and watch the fireworks from the Magic Kingdom with the music piped in.
It's pretty great with a Dole Whip in your hand. Come on, does it get better than that? They also have Trader Sam's over there. Very difficult to get into because it's very popular and not huge. But that is a tiki bar.
Jungle Cruise bar.
Very, very interactive. Let's just say there are some surprises in there.
Yeah.
So that's a really fun way to spend an afternoon for sure.
And then, of course, just resort hopping in general, if you're at any of the resorts off the monorail, you can see the Electrical Water Pageant, which is the nightly show that dates all the way back to 1971, I believe.
It does.
It predates
original.
the Electric Parade, from what I understand.
And it hasn't changed.
Yeah,
it's still
as cheesy and as weird as ever.
Kitschy. We'll go with kitschy.
It's a series of towed barges with music and lit displays. Again, predating the Electric Parade, so this is like
but it
the
does
Electric
have
Parade on
electricity
water.
that make a musical sound.
Yes, it does. But that's visible also from the beach at the Poly, but also from the Grand Floridian and the Contemporary.
Yes. And if you want to do a monorail crawl, you can do that. That's going to take you Polynesian, Contemporary, Grand Floridian. Those are all on the monorail. You can just hop off and hop on. Visit lounges, visit Christmas trees during Christmas time, visit the shops. Just make a day of it. A lot of people have done that in the past without a ticket. You don't need a ticket to do that.
Just walk around and smell the Disney smells that we talked about in one of those previous episodes.
Oh, so good. You can also do the similar experience with the Skyliner. So Skyliner is going to take you from Pop-It Animation. You can take it over to Riviera. You can take it to Caribbean Beach. Take it to the boardwalk.
Boardwalk, yeah.
So, again, a very similar experience there. And the Skyliner is just fun. I freaking
really
love
is.
that ride.
Now, again, to get to any of those resorts for the monorail crawl or the Skyliner crawl from your Disney hotel, take a bus to Disney Springs, and then from there on to one of the hotels that's either on the monorail or on the Skyliner.
So another option that you can do, speaking of one of those hotels, over at the Contemporary, they do have a marina. And you can do more fishing over there like you could do at the campground, catch and release again. They do have a guided tour as well that you can do with that, where a guide will take you out and show you the best spots to fish and walk you through that if you're not a familiar fisherman, which I would not be. So this would be my kind of thing. You could also just rent a boat and go out on the lake. Now, when we were there, we were able to rent a little tiny pedal boat that we could go and you do the little pedals like on a bicycle, but you're moving the boat. We couldn't find anything like that now when we looked on the website. So again, that's been, 40 years ago?
Oh, heavens. And they had the little two-person speedboats as well, which were really fun. And those are now gone as well, unfortunately. But you can rent those boats out by the hour. The pontoon boats, for instance, rent for about $45 for a half hour for up to 10 guests. Those boats also in the evenings are used for fireworks cruises. Those come with a driver. Those boats are rentable for up to 10 people. You just need to take a look on the app to see what's available during when you're going to be there. And those pontoon boats are about $3.99 and up. You can also go on the fireworks cruise on the ferry. That's something that Sue and I have been wanting to do for a long time. It looks like a lot of fun.
It does look like fun. It's sort of like the dessert party that you can do in the park. They do offer a small variety of drinks and desserts. You don't get to see the projection mapping. So the last couple times we've gone, we've been going with first-timers. The first time you see the fireworks, you want to do it from Main Street or from the dessert party or from the hub. You don't want to be out on the lake. But if you've seen them before, this is a great way to get a new experience. And again, without a theme park ticket. So for $130 for adults, $110 for kids, you can go out on the ferry and enjoy some light desserts and a brand new fireworks experience. The other option, and this is going to kind of wrap this up, is if you don't want to go into the park for the day, one of the best options that we can suggest is to just have a resort day. So enjoy the pool, enjoy the hot tubs, enjoy the bars and the restaurants and the jogging trails, if that's your thing. Enjoy.
Yes, because in the Florida heat, that's what I want to do. Unless, if you see me running, there's a gator chasing me. That's all I'm saying.
True. There's also arcades and shopping and just, like we said, people watching. There's just all kinds of things that you can do at your resort that you've already paid for. You've paid for those amenities. So to take a day or just an afternoon and enjoy those is a great way to spend your time without spending more money.
And don't discount the ability on those days when you're not going to the parks of sleeping in.
Yep.
Sleeping in and catching up on sleep when you're doing these long park days is invaluable.
It's
Trust
so
me.
good. And just to rest your body, rest your feet, rest your mind, get away from the crowds for a little bit. It, like Rod said, is invaluable on those longer trips.
So that's what we like to do without tickets at the Walt Disney World Resort. What did we miss? What did you like?
What would you want to do?
What would you want to do? Yeah, tell us down in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Before we go, we'd like to give a big shout out to our social media coordinator, Riley Piper, audio engineers Joey Humphrey and Paul Trett, and logo designer Evan Piper. Our theme music composer is Jason Patrick Rowan and is licensed through Pond 5. And of course, thank you, Phoenician.
Thank you, Phoenicians. And don't forget to rate, review, like, and subscribe. It really, really does help people find us. You can find us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts.
The Epcotian Adventure is a $1,000 brunch production. Thanks for joining us today for episode 30 of the Epcotian Adventure. I'm Rod.
And I'm Sue.
And we'll see you in line.
Bye.
There's actually a mini museum there, too, that shows you how the horses have evolved throughout the years there at the resort. Let me start that over.
Yeah, maybe not the horses evolving.
Yeah.
They'd be unicorns by now.